I did karate when I was like really young, but middle school and high school, I was always on like a team sport. I think like once I got to college, like all of that just like abruptly stopped because I went to an art school. So that's when I kind of started running, and then I think I just like had like an appetite for like camaraderie or like being on a team again, and I didn't know that's what I was getting into when I signed up for like Muay Thai, but once I joined a gym and like had teammates again and like people like holding me accountable, I realized that was kind of like that's kind of like what I need and like how I like to operate when I'm like working out, I guess. It feels better to be in like a team environment or like competitive sport environment than like going to like a spin class or like something like that. So I think that's really important for me, and I feel like I am like that because of how I was when I was young, like just being always on being on team sports and like being competitive and stuff like that.
Call a halt to this contest, declaring your winner by TKO and the new Freedom Fighter Promotions National Featherweight Champion, the Slam Reaper, Gianna.
I didn't really have like any intention of like fighting or competing. I just kind of like wanted to get in shape and try something different because like I said, I was like just running before, and it was kind of a lot on my knees, it was just hurting me, my back and stuff. So I started getting into this because I just wanted to like stay in shape and like try something fun. And then when I started competing, I was just kind of like, yeah, I'll try competing like here and there. And then I think like when I started winning and like people kind of started making like a big deal about me, I guess, was when I was kind of like, oh, okay, maybe I'm like actually good at this. Maybe I like can keep doing this. So when I first kind of started competing, like I did want to fight MMA. I was like a lot more into jujitsu than I am now, and I did have an MMA fight, and I got like knocked down the second round.
And content to let her keep standing. She is putting them things on her.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And drops her, there it is.
That was like a pretty low moment too, because I got a pretty bad concussion, so I'm sure that like contributed to the way that I was feeling, because I was just like my brain was rattled up. But like I felt pretty like depressed and like kind of like, what am I doing, like I suck, like. And obviously, that's not the case. Like I've had like so many wins before that MMA fight, but I think like people around me were like really hyping up like the MMA thing, thinking I was going to do like really well. I had all these like prospects, it felt like, and then that happened, and I was just kind of like, I didn't like that, and that sucked. I don't want to do MMA anymore.
I had seen her fight a lot, and she kicked a lot of ass up to that point of that first knockout. And that knockout was her first attempt at MMA. So I had already driven to New York a bunch of times, watched her shake hands, all that. But she just kicked ass so many times that I was starting to try to let myself relax. But when she was doing that first MMA thing, I knew it was a big change in rule set, in environment, and all that stuff. So, but I tried to just be not stressed about it, no anxiety, just like she's kicked ass before. I have no reason to think that she won't like just be able to handle her own in this ring. And it was pretty apparent like in the first like 20-30 seconds that it was a whole different ball game. That was definitely one of the hardest like things I had to watch. But I knew at some point I was gonna have to watch something that was gonna be hard, whether it be a round or an entire fight. But it was definitely like every challenge is different. And she came home and was definitely sad, and it's hard to talk to her on the phone, but I had to let her just like live with the frustration, because that's kind of what makes you better. And I knew that she would get over it, but it wasn't going to be easy, and I just tried to stay out of the way for a little bit.
My name is Jackson Galka, and I'm the owner and head instructor here at North Star MMA. I started this gym in 2017, but prior to that, I began training in 2004. And from about 2004 to 2012, I was an active competitor in mixed martial arts, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and Muay Thai kickboxing. I did win a national amateur MMA title in 2008. and then had about 5 professional bouts between mixed martial arts and kickboxing. My biggest accomplishments in this sport have been probably through coaching, teaching at like a competitive and also hobbyist level. But you know what made Gianna immediately successful competitively was she was athletic, she trained really hard, and she was also really, really tall. And so that's just a huge advantage. So she had some attributes that allowed her to get into the ring and be successful early on. But the main thing with Gianna that I think is the secret to her success is just her coachability and her work ethic. Gianna would be successful in any environment. You know, I can't take really much credit for that. My relationship with her is just to sort of like try to think through and optimize the path forward for whatever step she's at and whatever step she wants to get to. So she doesn't need a lot of coaching in terms of like the things that she should be bringing to the table, which she does, like energy, punctuality, effort, coachability. These things are all like, she's got that on lock. So it's just, it's almost like I'm not doing very much. You know, it's very easy. I think so much of being a fighter is questioning yourself on a regular basis and maybe not letting your ego get too ahead, because the people with big egos never really make it to that level. And they probably don't realize how much somebody might look up to them. So like, you know, when you first come into a gym like this, if you were to like, we'll take Gianna, for example, you see her winning and doing all this stuff, you think she's like a celebrity to you. But for Gianna, it's just another day in the office.